Welcome to Sober Dad Crew, the podcast where we talk about all things dad, sobriety, recovery, parenting, music, tattoos, and more. For more information or to get in touch, visit SoberDadCrew.com. Welcome to episode 1 of Sober Dad Crew. This is very likely to be the only solo episode I make. I am working now to line up guests for future episodes. But for this episode, I wanted to keep it short, but let you know a little bit more about my story. I'm the father of 4. I'm engaged to be married. I have 2 kids from my first marriage who are 19 and 15 years old, a son and a daughter, respectively. And my fiance has 2 kids, ages 10 and 6, a girl and a boy, respectively. People often refer to these as my stepkids, but for me, there are no stepkids. These are all simply my kids. I've worked in marketing for more than 25 years. I love music and coffee and have a lot of tattoos. And nearly 13 years ago, I made a decision that fundamentally changed the trajectory of my life. On February 11th, 2010, I chose sobriety. I was tired of carrying the weight of an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. I had come to understand that the 1 glass of wine had turned into 2, and the 2 had often turned into 3. Every day. And I guess some folks would call that gray area drinking, but for me, I had a problem drinking. It was negatively impacting my relationships and parenting. And I clearly remember the moment that changed my life. I was in the middle of my 2nd glass of wine of the night, and I felt the spirit of my grandmother say to me, "You're on the wrong path." And that was it. The decision was very clear. No more alcohol, ever. I now count the days of sobriety in the thousands, but the one thing I know to be true is that everyone has a first day, and one of the ways we make it to the thousands of days is with community and honesty. For many years, only those closest to me knew I was sober. I was pretty quiet about it, especially in my professional life. At work, I was worried about being judged for being in recovery. In fact, I've found, especially in the professional settings, people often do make assumptions and judgments about my decision. This fact made me concerned about being judged as a person in recovery, that I might be considered a potential liability. This fear was intensified by the fact that for most of this time, I was a single parent with 2 kids, and I was too scared to think that if my sobriety became public, my ability to keep my job and provide for my family was at risk. But as the years went on, I became more and more comfortable with being public about my choice and that choosing sobriety is about making a healthy decision for myself and my family, and more comfortable realizing that I have the power to choose to work in places that are supportive of their employees, no matter their past struggles. Finally, I also came to realize that by not being public about my sobriety, I was really feeding into the stereotypes of sobriety and recovery. There are a lot of assumptions made and misunderstanding of what addiction and recovery look like, and that there are also so many kinds of recovery beyond alcohol and drugs. What we need to do, especially in the work world, is not judge or assume. Instead, it is important that we embrace the fact that everyone has a story, and everyone faces challenges. By doing so, we will find we have employees and colleagues who feel honored for being who they are, and we can hope to inspire others to be proud of who they are and what they have overcome. These are the types of employees and colleagues you want. People who will be dedicated to the work, but also have balance, strength, and grace in their lives. And before I close, I'd just like to mention a couple of albums I've been listening to that are really amazing. The first is Maggie Rogers' Surrender, and the second is The Interrupters in the Wild. Both of these are totally worth checking out. Thanks for listening. For more information, for links to any music or books we talked about, or to buy some Sober Dad Crew merchandise, please visit SoberDadCrew.com.